Welcome to the official YouTube channel of Eternia.com. I'm your host AJ, and today I'm doing an unboxing and a mini review of the Masterverse Wave 9 Princess of Power Grizzlor figure. Now, this is the first time Grizzlor has been produced in Masterverse plastic. And I have to be honest with you, as a child, and I know this is going to be sacrilege, but I wasn't a big fan of the Grizzlor vintage toy. I just found it way too furry. It reminded me of like a Tribble from Star Trek, or the actor Yahoo Serious, or even like a troll doll. It was just way too furry to me. Now, his look, I think, in the Filmation 80s She-Ra and the Princess of Power cartoon was a step in the right direction. And I think this Masterverse figure is even a larger step in the right direction in regards to what appeals to me. And for the record, I have nothing but love for anyone who prefers that big, furry, lovable vintage figure design. So now let's address the figures adjacent to Grizzlor. Here on the left, we have the Hordak Deluxe figure, and we have Shadow Weaver. And then you might be curious why I have these figures on the right. I have He-Man with a custom head from Kentucky Fried Customs, and I have Skeletor. And these are both, the movie-inspired Masterverse figures. And why I have them out is I'm excited not just to have Grizzlor, but I'm excited to have, finally, a figure that I think can be easily customized to be a movie-inspired Beastman. We've never actually gotten a movie-inspired Beastman official figure for Masters of the Universe, but I believe this Grizzlor can be a nice stand-in, so we're going to check that out too. But first, let's check out the packaging and this fantastic artwork. So one shouldn't take a Masterverse figure out of the box without admiring the terrific artwork first. And this artwork does not disappoint. The artist here that created this art is artist Eamon O'Donoghue. And we recently had Eamon on the For Eternia official podcast where he talked about how he got the Masterverse job and how he designed or helped design this, these blue broken rocks with all the iconic imagery embedded in. So he was actually partially responsible for creating this design. And he also talked about this Grizzlor art that he did and how frustrating it was to deal with not Grizzlor's face or his body or his weapons or anything like that, but actually his 3 claws. He really found that tricky to do, I guess, because he's so used to drawing 4 fingers. But he went on to explain that the spine was always meant to be like a profile artwork where the character was actually posing for a picture. And then on the back was always the action piece, the character in actions. So I really recommend checking out that podcast. We'll make sure there's a link at the end of this unboxing. But if we check out the artwork closer, I really like this. Here's Grizzlor with his crossbow, and it looks like he has an Eternian Royal Guard helmet under his hand. And then on the back here, look at this. We have Grizzlor on this rock, and it looks like he's commanding a whole Horde Trooper army. How cool is that? And you know what this actually reminds me of? You ever see the 1982 film Conan the Barbarian starring Arnold Schwarzenegger? In the beginning of that film, when his village is being attacked, there's like this berserker that jumps on a rock. And then, there's all these soldiers that like surround him and pass him and run by him. And Grizzlor here in this imagery actually reminds me of that berserker. But the term actually comes from Dungeons and Dragons, and it would always be like this savage fighter that would always want to be first, and he would fight recklessly, and he would just dive right into battle and usually die. But if you were like fighting this army, the last one you'd want to confront would be the berserker, and I think Grizzlor just looks like that character. So, all right, enough talking about the packaging. Let's take the figure out of the box and take a closer look. So here he is, Masterverse Grizzlor, the hairy henchman of the evil horde. And he is looking terrific. Look at it. You got this real fur attached to the armor. Hopefully this is removable here. And then look at the fur detail on his arms, which is sculpted and it looks like washed in with brown wash. We're going to take a closer look at that. And then you have the horde symbols here, and the loincloth looks cool, and the big horde symbol, and look at that face. This 360 degrees looks great. All right, let's first take a closer look at that head sculpt. Wow, check out this head sculpt. First, just start with the fur on the top of the head, the way it's sculpted like that, and it's just layered. Wow. Does that look good or what? And it has different paint. I'm not sure if that's going to come across on camera, but there's multiple paints used in that fur. It's looking good. And then the actual face itself, the way those brows are sculpted, and the way they're painted, and then you have the fangs and the yellow eyes. I just think this Grizzlor head is just terrific. Ooh, definitely pleased with this. Now, I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't take a closer look at this hair, this fur of Grizzlor, because let's face it, that's the iconic part of Grizzlor. That's what everyone remembers from the vintage figure, you know, that poofy hair. So let's take a closer look at it. Wow, this is so soft. Holy cow, this is soft. This is softer than Revelation King Grayskull. New Eternia Beastman. This is the softest in Masterverse. This is amazing. This feels like a little kitten. Now, I'm not suggesting like a kitten, a real kitten fur was used for this figure. We would not want that, but it feels like a fur coat. Wow. Yeah, this is impressive. And it looks like it's built into this armor here, you know, this harness. I wonder what would happen if we take this harness off. Yeah, let's take the harness off and let's take a closer look. So when we take this harness off, can we lift this over the head? We can. Look at that, the fur stays on, but I bet the fur comes off if we take off the head. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, this is cool. This is really well made. Oh, look at that. It's stitched in the middle, around the neck, and it's stitched on the edge. This is a nice quality piece of material. Feels great. So here's Grizzlor without his fur and without his armor harness, and he is looking terrific. Once again, let's take a closer look at that body, and you can see all the fur sculpted in the chest and the arms and in the legs, and you can see there has this like brown wash to bring out the details. Look at this. He's got a bicep bandana with the horde symbol. Come off. Do I have to remove the hand? No, I don't. Look at this. He's like the ultimate warrior. Looks like the loincloth here is soft plastic. Look at these horde boots. Do these swivel? They do. And then, of course, here, I bet there's not going to be great articulation with this head. It's more, you know, the fur, the mane, if you will, kind of sort of blocks. It really makes articulation limited to some degree compared to other Masterverse figures. But still pretty decent. So let's briefly talk Masters of the Universe, the 1987 live-action film starring Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella. Since that movie's release in 1987, there's only been a handful of movie-inspired figures. To the left here is one of them, right? The Masterverse movie-inspired Skeletor. And to the right is another one. It's the Classics movie-inspired Blade. But we've never received a movie-inspired Beastman. And I'm just saying, if we never do get one, I think this Grizzlor figure will substitute as Beastman nicely. Now, if you remember in the movie, Beastman, which was just one word, it didn't have a space between beast and man, was played by actor Tony Carroll. And Tony Carroll wasn't just an actor, he had a great physique. He was a bodybuilder. And unfortunately, he died really young in his early 40s. I think of a pulmonary embolism, which is, I believe, is a blood clot in your lungs. So it was so sad to see him go. A lot of fans who love that movie love that Beastman design and would love a Beastman on their shelf. And this Grizzlor, especially in the face, really resembles the Beastman we saw in the movie. So maybe if we make some padded leather custom armor, you know, for the legs and for the chest, and maybe if we use even some of this fur for the arms, because if you remember in the movie, he has furry arms. So if you're a customizer, I really believe this can become a great movie-inspired Beastman on your shelf. So maybe instead of buying one Grizzlor, if you're a big fan of the 1987 feature film, maybe you buy two. So in regards to accessories, we have a right hand of Grizzlor that actually is a punching fist. We have a left hand of Grizzlor, which is actually a clawing fingers. And then we also have this cool battle axe with the horde symbol on it. And then finally, the awesome crossbow. Check this out. So on Grizzlor's back, he has that little holster. He has that little sheath for weapons. Unfortunately, while I think it would be cool to hang this crossbow from his back, I don't believe there's a way to hook this through. But you can put his battle axe through here. There you go. Just like so. Now, if you want to use Grizzlor's crossbow, you just clip these onto his wrist. So you just lift his arm like so, and clip it on, and aim. So what do I think of the Masterverse Wave 9 Princess of Power Grizzlor? I really love him. I really love his fur. It doesn't seem to be too much or too little. It just feels just right. And it's a perfect balance. It's a perfect combination for me between the sculpted fur and the actual fur material, that he doesn't look silly. He just looks menacing. And I know this incorporates a lot from the Filmation design and expands from there, but I think he just looks fantastic. And I can't wait to like put him next to, Shadow Weaver and Catra and Hordak on my shelf and just keep building up this evil horde. And I really hope we get a lot more figures through the Princess of Power subline. I really hope Masterverse sticks with it, because there's a lot of terrific characters in that Princess of Power universe. And as a bonus, if you buy two Grizzlors, you can turn one of these into a movie-inspired Beastman with a little creativity and customization work. So that's it. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.